Welcome back to Akira Kizzau, Aspects of Mourn novel by Mike L. Manders. Issue number 9, Eve. The chief of the watch was in full armor, with a shield on her back and a twisting sword tucked under it. She wore a helm that gave no hint of what lay beneath. It was one tinted with one-way filaments, so none might guess her identity. The only reason Ariane discerned the chief was female was due to the tights she wore across all save her upper arms and low legs. "How can I help you two?" she asked as she propped both metal boots up on her desk. Her voice was unnatural, obviously disguised. "We have been sent by the god of ravens to look into the abduction of a heroic the literaries were trying to bring forth into the world," Ari stated. "He directed us to you as he believes you may have information about the missing being." "Who are you?" Karza asked. The old chief of Usher was that former gunslinger turned ghoul, Dwana. "I know she retired, but I had thought the position still vacant." "Me? Who cares?" the chief said. "Let's just say I belong in Usher. The city is for those that need to find hope again. I found it by becoming the chief of the watch. And that thing those 3 riders were making was more trouble than she was worth. Ask me, I think Baba Yaga will return her once she realizes what she kidnapped." "Regardless," Ariane said, "we are looking into the 3 beings that have seemingly targeted members of my family. Baba Yaga and Dracula are both involved. If one of them abducted something the literaries were working upon, then that is a solid lead. Can you tell us anything about what happened?" The chief of Usher growled before taking her legs off the table so that she could stand to walk over to a map of Usher on the wall. Tapping it, she brought up a video panel showcasing an elderly woman leering over a woman dressed in rags and jeans. Another tap and the image began to play. The woman was quivering on her backside for a moment before the old woman lifted her clear and hurled them into a nearby building. A moment later, the video ended. "That's all we were able to recover from the imaging crystals and cameras," the chief said. "I can take you to the site, but that which tore down the tunnel is in the area for a mile in several directions. The trail just goes cold." "Nonetheless," Ariane said, "I would like to survey it for myself." "Are you a detective of some sort?" the chief asked. "No," Ari replied, "but I am married to a former wither, and my sister now helps run the organization. I have picked up an eye for details thanks to them." "Right," the chief said, picking up a heavy cloak off a nearby rack. "Let's go see what you can find. Knowing my luck, you two are going to run me right into more trouble than all of this is worth." Within an hour, the 3 strode through the southern edge of the necropolis that housed all manner of the undead. It was much neater than typical graveyard, but was still covered in a layer of mist. Ariane saw ghouls, ghosts, gargoyles, and even a few Nosferatu. None seemed adversarial, but rather going about their day like any citizen in one of the many cities dotting the landscape of Mourn. "Why do you hide your face?" Karza asked the chief. He had remained silent since meeting a woman that looked over most of the city. "Most heroics only do that for flair or protection. There's something about you, something hidden." The chief of the watch stopped and whirled on Elric Karza. Her oval shield now hummed with technological life as the outer rim separated to reveal it was more than just for show. "I do not like that you are back in my city, Karza. I do not trust you. But if you must know, I have something to hide. It is my secret to keep. You would do well to remember you are only free because the fates think you can play a greater role. If it were to me, you would be rotting alone on a prison world." "Is that where it happened?" Ariane asked, walking over to a crater. Silver grave markers and remains of buildings were piled at the bottom of the crater. The chief had not been lying about the feasibility of following the abductors. Why not simply spirit the heroic away? Why go to the trouble of causing destruction on this scale? If you ask me, it was for show, the chief said. Everything I saw and heard about your llama march had the earmarks of a distraction. Something stinks. This is just one more layer to it all. Do you have a map of the graves and tombs that were destroyed? Ari asked. The chief tapped the computer on her wrist for a few moments. Sending it to you now. Thinking there might be a clue here? Before Ariane could ask, Elric Karza quickly reached forward and removed the helmet resting on the chief's head, revealing a face that was impossible. Kizzy? Why are you here? How? The Blight Elf snarled before sending a pulse from her shield at Karza. The immortal flew backward into an empty hillside. Look closer, the chief said. I still have peeling skin. My hair is short and dyed gray. Also, my name is Eve, Ariane said, staring at the impossible reality before you. You're Kizzy's sister. She saw you die. Clearly, I'm still breathing. It's been over 20 years. Why not let your family know? The things they did to my sister before I got her free are nothing compared to what happened to me. Karza stumbled to his feet, but Eve Kizzau rounded, pulling her sword from its resting place. It also hummed to life as she pointed it at the immortal. We do not have time to go over all of this. It's yet another distraction this one's masters have put into place. That's right, isn't it? Karza stayed on the ground, tears streaming from his eyes. I am a monster no more. I serve no villain. Slay me if you must. I do not know what I can do to convince you. Before Ariane could stop her, Eve Kizzau, chief of the watch, lashed out with her sword, burying it in the ground less than an inch from Karza's head. I forged this blade to kill beasts like you. If you betray me, my sister-in-law, or any member of her family, it will take your head. And with that, I will see you in the near future for part 2 of issue number 9, Eve. And thank you for listening.